Hello students, welcome to the fourth lesson of training for development topic. In this, let us discuss few more techniques for training. The technique by which training is delivered often varies based on the needs of the organization, the trainee, and on the task being performed. The technique should suit the audience, the content, the business environment, and the learning objective. Ideally, the technique chosen will motivate employees to learn, help employees prepare themselves for learning, enable the trainees to apply and practice what they have been taught. The techniques of training can be divided into cognitive and behavioral techniques. A brief account of each technique will help the trainer to make the right selection. Role play is a versatile and basic training technique in which few participants are asked to act out a realistic situation in order to meet learning objectives. Role play is used for actually involving participants in lifelike situation where there are problems or conflicts. Role play can simply involve two characters or multiple characters. Planning for role play requires that the situation be realistic and consistent with the overall learning objective of the training program. The main uses of role play are changing or modifying attitudes, developing interpersonal skills and communication skills, conflict resolution, group decision making, developing insight into one's own behavior and its impact on others. The disadvantages of it are: observers may be passive until the exercise is discussed. Success depends on the imagination of the players. Attitude change may be short-lived. Here in the picture, you can see the various advantages of role play. There are various types of role play such as multiple role play, single role play, role rotation, spontaneous role play. Multiple role play. In this type of role play, all trainees are in groups with each group acting out the role play simultaneously. After the role play, each group analyzes the interactions and identifies the learning points. Next type is single role play. One group of participants plays the role for the rest, providing demonstration of situation. Other participants observe the role play, analyze their interaction with one another and learn from the play. The next type is role rotation. It starts as a single role play. After the interaction of participants, the trainer will stop the role play and discuss what happened so far. Then the participants are asked to exchange characters. This method allows a variety of ways to approach the roles. The next is spontaneous role play. In this kind of role play, trainee enacts on the spot while discussion is still going on. Fishbowl is a way of leading a discussion in large groups. The technique is named after the seating arrangement. It looks like a goldfish bowl, two circles of participants sitting around each other. The fish bowl is a technique to facilitate a group discussion in an event. In a fishbowl activity, a group of learners is selected to discuss a topic while the remaining learners observe. Then they take notes and later reflect upon the fishbowl discussion. In an open fishbowl, observers can become participants, swapping places with those within the fishbowl. In a closed bowl, observers can't change their roles. Fish bowls can be relatively homogeneous. Example, fish bowl participants may be from a single team such as development field, marketing, business leaders, etc., or can be heterogeneous including fish bowl members from cross-functional teams. Under this technique, direct observation takes place in order to assess the changed knowledge, skills and attitudes of the participants. During observation, the errors and mistakes in actual work situation are carefully observed and recorded. Finally, the effectiveness of training can be evaluated through the reaction of trainees. Observation provides the opportunity to document activities, behavior and physical aspects without having to depend upon people's willingness and ability to respond to questions. Seeing and listening are key to observation. The advantages of observation are: it provides direct information about behavior of individuals and groups, permit evaluator to enter into and understand situation or context. It provides good opportunities for identifying unanticipated outcomes. It exists in natural, unstructured and flexible setting. The disadvantages are: expensive and time consuming, need well qualified, highly trained observers, may also need to be content experts. It may affect behavior of participants. Selective perception of observer may distort data. Investigator has little control over situation. A case study is a description of a real or imagined situation which contains information that trainees can use to analyze what has occurred and why. The trainees recommend solutions based on the content provided. A case study is a narrative account of a series of events or situations around a specific problem. For example, malnourished children, family conflicts, crop infestation, etc. Case studies are used for problem identification and problem solving activity, for developing alternative approaches and strategies in solving problem, for making decisions and for presenting field experiences. The advantages of case study are: it is a lively and interesting method. It keeps the participants vibrant and participating in the learning process. It develops the thinking, analyzing and problem solving skills of the participants. It relieves monotony of the faculty in giving continuous lectures and the boredom of participants in listening to continuous lectures. Since cases are made out of real life situations, it helps the participants to solve the problems by applying the learning gained during training. The human relations skills are developed. Cooperation and understanding is found among the trainees to diagnose the problem and to solve them. However, the disadvantages are: it is a time consuming and may be cumbersome at times. Lack of provision of adequate data and incidents may dilute the case study method. Some of the participants who are moderate and modest may not participate in the methodology. If the case studies are lengthy, the participants may lose their concentration. The intelligent and insightful trainees may find out the solutions very quickly, whereas the dull ones may not find out anything out of the case. Participatory rural appraisal technique is a way of learning from and with community members to investigate, analyze and evaluate constraints and opportunities and make informed and timely decisions regarding development projects. The various types of PRA techniques are: first, facilitation techniques. In this, identification of key informants. The persons who are able to give reliable, valid, true and authentic information about the village, such as old persons, natural leaders, lay leaders, persons with long history of dwelling in the village, opinion leaders, service providers, etc. Second, rapport building, creating an impression among the villagers that the PRA facilitator is genuinely interested in the welfare of the villagers. Third, basic information, collection of demographic and geographical data of the village in relation to the theme of PRA. Fourth, timeline. It is history of major recollected events in a community with approximate and discussion of changes occurred. Fifth, seasonal analysis. This is also called as seasonal calendar, which indicates month-wise, day-wise or season-wise threats or problems in a diagrammatic way. The next technique is Transect Techniques. In this, first is boundary transect. It is a method of walking along a boundary of the selected area, starting from any place or direction to observe and note down the boundaries. Second, general transect. It is a walk in the village with key informants to know general features of village in a broad way. Next is mapping techniques. In this, the first is social map. It is to depict the social structure, that is community, neighborhood, institutions, organization and collectivities and characteristics of rural society. Second, resource map. It is mapping out both natural and man-made resources in the village, such as water, electricity. Third, Venn diagram. It is a method of studying the perception of the villages towards relative importance of various institutions, individuals and organizations inside or outside the village regarding village development activities. Fourth, technology maps. It is to depict the technologies that are found in the village as well as the technology decision behavior of the farmers. Fifth, problem tree. It is a diagrammatic aid to sort out the interrelated factors like causes for problems. Sixth, ITK map, Indigenous Technology Knowledge. It is a map which geographically depicts the traditionally used local or indigenous technologies, usually low cost, developed by local people or farmers out of their experience. The next is ranking techniques. The first is wealth ranking. It refers to placing people on their different steps of the social ladder according to their wealth. Second, direct matrix ranking, placing different items or things according to their worthiness with regard to a specific criterion or reason related to a specific behavioral decision. Third, technology assessment. It refers to assessing the worth or utility value of a technology in comparison to many existing techniques, for example, from the farmer's point of view. In this, first is in-basket training. In-basket exercise, also known as in-tray training. It consists of a set of business papers which may include email, SMS, reports, memos and other items. In this technique, trainee is given some information about the role to be played, such as description, responsibilities or general context about the role. The trainee is then given the log of materials that make up the in-basket and asked to respond to materials within a particular time period. After the trainee completes, a discussion with the trainer takes place. Next, management games. Properly designed games help to ingrain thinking habits, analytical, logical and reasoning capabilities, importance of teamwork, time management, communication and leadership capabilities. Use of management games can encourage novel, innovative mechanisms for coping with stress. Management games orient a candidate with practical applicability of the subject. These games help to appreciate management concepts in a practical way. Different games are used for training general managers and the middle management and functional heads. Next, computer based training. Computer based training is becoming increasingly prevalent as technology becomes more widespread and easy to use. They are first, text only. The simplest computer based training program offers self-paced training in a text only format. While simple in format, these programs can be highly effective and present complicated information and concepts in a comprehensible and easily accessible way. Second, CD-ROM. A wide variety of off-the-shelf training programs covering a broad range of workplace topics are available on CD-ROM. Programs can also be created by training consultants for the specific needs of the particular organization or individual departments. Next, multimedia. These training materials are an advanced form of computer-based training. In addition to text, they provide stimulating graphics, audio, animation and video. Multimedia tends to be more provocative and challenging and therefore more stimulating to the adult mind. Multimedia training materials are typically found in DVD format. Next is virtual reality. Virtual reality is three-dimensional and interactive, immersing the trainee in a learning experience. Most virtual reality training programs take the form of simulation, which is a highly effective form of training. It is hands-on experience without the risk of actual performance. Flight simulators, for example, have been used successfully for years to train airline and military pilots in critical flying skills as well as to prepare them for emergency situations in a safe environment. Next is online or e-learning. In addition to computer-based training, many companies with employees in a variety of locations across the country are relying on other technologies to deliver training. This method is becoming more and more popular as access to the web becomes more widely available. Some examples for learning include web-based training, tele or video conferencing, audio conferencing, webinars, online colleges and universities and email. The first is web-based training. This method puts computer-based training modules onto the web, which company can then make available to their employees either on the company's intranet or on a section of the vendor's website that is set up for the company. These courses provide a hands-on interactive way for employees to work through training presentations that are similar to CD-ROM or PowerPoint on their own. Training materials are standardized because all trainees will use the same program. Web-based training programs are also linked with software that makes trainees' progress trackable, which makes record keeping very easy for the training administrator. Tele or video conferencing. These methods allow the trainer to be in one location and trainees to be scattered in several locations. Participants are networked into the central location and can usually ask questions of the trainer via the telephone or a web chat feature. Next is audio conferencing. This method is similar to video conferencing, but involves audio only. Participants dial in at the scheduled meeting time and hear speakers present their training. Question and answer sessions are frequently held at the end of the sessions, in which participants can email questions or call in and talk to a presenter. Next is web meetings or webinar. This method contains audio and visual components. Participants dial in to receive live audio training and also follow visual material that appears on their computer screens. These presentations are similar to CD-ROM or PowerPoint presentations and sometimes offer minimal online interactivity. The next is online colleges and universities. This method is also known as distance learning. Many schools now offer certificates or degrees through online programs that require only minimal on-campus residency. The last is email. You can use email to promote or enhance training, send reminders for upcoming training, solicit follow-up questions for trainers and managers, conduct training evaluations through email forms. The next technique is programmed learning. Programmed learning, computer aided instruction and interactive video all have one thing in common. They allow the trainee to learn at his or her own pace. Also, they allow material already learned to be bypassed in favor of material with which a trainee is having difficulty. After the introductory period, the instructor need not be present. The trainee can learn as his or her own time permits. These methods sound good, but may be beyond the resource of some small institutions. The advantages are they are good for helping employees develop and practice new skills. They are useful for refresher training. They are applicable to self-directed learning. They cannot be cost effective because the same equipment and program can be used by large number of employees. They are flexible because trainees can learn at their own pace and at a time that is convenient for them. Computer based programs are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No matter which shift an employee works, training is always available. The disadvantages are these programs require trainees to be computer literate. They require trainees to have computer access. There is little or no interaction with the trainer. If trainees have a question, there is no one to ask. These programs are not effective at teaching soft skills such as customer service, sales or sensitivity training. They are not the best choice for new or one-time training. Trainers need live interaction to ensure new skills or concepts that are being communicated. Inadequate or outdated hardware devices, example sound cards, graphics accelerators and local area networks can cause programs to malfunction. Hence, it can be said that training is about knowing where you stand at present, no matter how good or bad the current situation looks and where you will be after some point of time. And all the techniques of training for development are different means towards achieving those ends for the organization. The better trained the employees of any organization will be, the better would be its productivity. Any questions?
Yes ma'am, I have a question. What is a good technique for discussing in large groups?
Fishbowl technique can be considered as a good technique for discussion in large groups. The technique is named after the seating arrangement. It looks like a goldfish bowl, two circles of participants sitting around each other. The fishbowl is a technique to facilitate a group discussion in an event. An inner circle, the fishbowl, is created in which members of the audience participate and which the discussion starts. This method is easy to organize and allows a good involvement of the audience. Any more questions? Okay. These are all about the various techniques of training. Thank you.